And now we're increasingly dependent on this coal, which all sort of came to a head this week. So what you saw this week was last Thursday or Friday, Genesis was in the news basically saying that unless they can get a deal signed with the other players, big players, to support the overhaul of I think it's unit 3 of one of the dual fuel Raken units at Huntley, unless they could get the other players to support them in overhauling that, they were going to decommission it in February because, and I have sympathy for their position because basically, they would be looking at like multi tens of millions to overhaul that unit and put it back into service for another 10-year cycle. And there's a good chance that the utilization of that will be really, really low. So it's low utilization of capital on their books and it's not a good return on investment. So they needed the other players to weigh in. And then I see on Monday morning they've managed to get a deal done.
Get a
So
deal.
that's good news. I mean, that's great news for us because otherwise it could be lights out if we had a dry year again, like we had last year. But this is where the nuclear question starts to come in, right? Like if we're going to grow our economy, we want to electrify more stuff. We want to electrify more transport and we want to electrify more industry and all that sort of stuff. We need baseload, right? We need that always on, reliable baseload generation. And, at the moment, we're really sort of the only thing that's giving us that now is the geothermal, right? And there is a bit of scope for growth in the geothermal, and geothermal is a great resource, so we should definitely pursue that. But that's limited in capacity, and I don't know that it's enough to support the growth that we would need. And particularly if they want to do things like retire the coal at Huntley, that plant's getting older, even though you're overhauling it. It's been around since the 70s, I think it is, that was built. So, it's got a few run years on it. It's not going to last forever. So we need to be thinking ahead, and I think we seriously need to be revisiting this nuclear topic.